You're watching the Isiah Factor, uncensored.
Flavored e-cigarettes and e-vapes are still out there, and we know they're attractive to teenagers, and they really want to get their hands on them. A new movie spearheaded by Houstonians is looking to show teens an honest look at how dangerous they can be.
When we talk about e-cigarettes, I remember the federal government back in January of 2020, the FDA put out some mandates saying that they would not allow certain e-flavored cigarettes or mint-flavored cigarettes to be sold to young people. Yet we're still dealing with this today. Tell us why we're still seeing it.
Well, so essentially, when the FDA comes out with any type of rulemaking, it takes a number of years to take effect. There have been a number of efforts in the Congress to try to push forth banning these products on our stores, led by Congressman Pallone, Senator Cory Booker. And so what's happening now is there is the expectation that the FDA will put out a rule that will ultimately ban these as early as possibly April. And so, we are putting together this event to try to bring awareness around the issue.
How serious of a problem is it when it comes to young people, e-flavored cigarettes and mint-flavored cigarettes and vapes that are out there? Do we still see them in abundance in stores? And if so, what's so bad about it?
Well, they're absolutely in abundance in stores. And the thing about them is that, these things are being made to look like candy. They're looking like a toy that my 8-year-old might play with. And the reality is that we're also seeing them integrated much more into our media and into what we're watching. And so kids are becoming more aware and more astute of different products. The internet gives them access to a world of information. And so these things look harmless, and they're made to look harmless. And so it's a new struggle for a new generation. But, obviously it's something we've seen before. Teen smoking has never, or youth smoking has never not been a thing as long as there's been the access to tobacco. But this flavored product is extremely dangerous because they don't realize the health risks.
Now, are we seeing any of these manufacturers, these vape makers, these e-cigarette makers, specifically targeting minority communities? Is that an issue? Is that a question that's being looked at?
Well, the tobacco industry knows that about 90% of adult smokers start out as early as 18. Right. And some have started before the age of 18. So they're aware of this. This is not new data. And so these youth smokers become long-term smokers. And so, yes, from as in any other marketing perspective, they've done the research. They have the research. We have the research. And so we know that, they know what we know. And so, you can reach them young. Certainly that's a longer customer.
Now, this film that you guys will be screening here in Houston with Congressman Al Green, what's in that film, and what's the focus of it?
So the film it was produced by this Center for Black Health and Equity. And essentially it's called Black Lungs, Black Lives. And what it does is it tells the story of the impact. It's a short film, 15 minutes, and then we'll have a panel discussion afterwards, and certainly some remarks by Congressman Green. But it talks about the tobacco industry's purposeful pursuit of the African American community. And it tells the tale of what the impact has been from a health perspective, and how a lot of what we see happening is not by happenstance, rather by a concerted effort. So it is it's an interesting watch. And again, it talks primarily about menthol tobacco products, as well as e-vape, flavored e-vape products, which are primarily targeted towards children.
Now, Dallas, if you can recall, maybe a year or so ago, or less than a year, many African Americans took offense when they heard the Biden administration would focus on trying to get rid of menthol cigarettes, saying that's not the biggest problem we have in our community. We have enough sense not to smoke menthols. That's not the only reason why we're smoking. Smoking is an addiction. So when you hear people say You know, the Biden administration is barking up the wrong tree when they look at menthol cigarettes. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think in a whole, there's been an effort to ban access to tobacco, period. But what we know is that, African Americans are not the only community that smoke menthol cigarettes. But again, from our perspective, right, we're worried about the impact of menthol, particularly on children because of its flavored content, right? Mm-hmm. So any piece of public policy has a byproduct, and so when we, we don't look at this from a perspective. I mean, this event is being sponsored and in part by the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, right? And so, our main focus is making sure that we can keep these out of the hands of children, not, whether they're black, brown, it doesn't matter where they come from, right? We think it's harmful for children to start smoking at a young age. And so it's not about necessarily a race issue in terms of the African-American community, but, we do understand why, I certainly understand why there's some concern there. But I don't think there's the data to support that it would be targeted to this community alone.
And for those who would like to attend this screening, is it open to the public, and what are the details?
It's absolutely open to the public. It will be held on March 26th at 11 a.m. It's being held at the Fountain Life Center, and it's going to have food and prizes and interactive displays where parents can, there'll be a room set up where parents can see where their children may actually hide their E-Vapes in their room. It's kind of interesting. And partners like the American Heart Association with interactive lung setups. And so Saturday, March 26th at 11 a.m., we'd love to have any and everyone that wants to come out. They can register on Eventbrite, and we do have strict COVID protocols in place.